Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at these two Acer laptops I found at the e-waste center. So these two laptops were headed for recycling, and I snatched them up because I thought they'd look cool. I didn't know much about them. I saw that they came with a Windows 7 Home certificate of authenticity. I thought maybe that's new enough to do something cool with, but old enough where it might be interesting. So when I got home, I looked them up, and these are from around 2010, which makes them about 14 years old. They're running Pentium D dual core processors, and they're kind of the cheap plastic everyman laptop that was so prevalent in 2010. So nothing really special about them. Upon closer inspection, they probably are pretty modern. They've got VGA, Ethernet, HDMI, USB, microphone, headphone, USB ports here. Probably not USB 3 because they don't say super speed, but probably USB 2.1 or something. But yeah, I mean, there's not a ton about them. HDMI on them is a little surprising, but a pleasant surprise. So anyway, let's go take a look at these on the bench and see if we can't get something working out of these two machines. All right, so we have our two Acer computers here. I believe they're identical models. They're not in terrible shape, just a little dirty. This one still has the spec sticker on it. So it's got an Intel Pentium P6200, 15.6-inch display, Intel HD graphics, great, 4 gigs of DDR3 RAM. It had a 640 gigabyte hard drive, DVD Super Multi dual layer drive, Acer Amplify 802.11 BG&N, and a 6-cell lithium-ion battery. So, not bad for what it is. This one's got an Atari sticker on it, I guess, which is kind of cool, but flaking off a little bit. Take it off, maybe, without doing too much damage. No, it's just going to rip. All right, we'll come back to that. The model number is, it's the Aspire 5742 series, model number PEW71. Pew, pew. And this is identical. Yep. So this one came with Windows 7 Home, Windows 7 Home Premium. Well, Windows 7 Home Premium on both of them. Now, I've already taken a look at these, and I know that they don't have hard drives in them, and they're actually missing the screws for the hard drive enclosure. When I picked these up, the hard drive cover here was just kind of mangled on both of them. Not mangled, but not on properly. So somebody clearly had removed the drives, and it was real easy to see. So if we pop this open on both of these guys here, see, we've got our space for our hard drive, and there normally would be a plastic caddy that would be used to secure it in there, but whoever took these drives out just took the caddy with it, which is probably understandable. If you're just going to send these in for recycling like these guys were, what's the point of putting the caddy back in? You want to make sure your data's safe. You take your drive out, you shred it or do whatever you do to it, and just don't even worry about taking it out of the caddy. But I found that in most cases, the SATA connector itself is good enough to hold the drive in, as long as you're not, throwing it around, throwing it in a laptop bag. And these are not going to be daily drivers for anything ever, because they're, old at this point. Running a Pentium in a laptop is not something you really want to do. But let's go ahead and get some drives popped into these here. Make sure we got this on the right side. That should go in like so. And we'll take this one. Now these are super cheap 128 gigabyte Patriot drives from Amazon. These don't have DRAM cache or anything. They're just kind of like the worst, cheapest SSD you can buy, which is probably better than the 5400, 640 gigabyte drive that was in here. Yeah, it's a lot smaller, but again, we're not going to be using this for daily driving anything, so it doesn't really matter that it's a tiny little drive. So we can go ahead and put these back on. Now we've got drives in there. And these kind of just clip in, but the clips are really tight, so I found that you have to kind of convince them to go in there sometimes. It's a guitar pick. There we go. Well, that's one. And we'll get the other one here. So I like to put the edge in first, I think is how you're supposed to do it. And everything else should just clip in, but again, sometimes it needs a little cooperation from a guitar pick to get everything in there like it's supposed to be. And I don't know if this is because these have been taken apart a bunch or just how they're designed, but there we go. Alright, so when I picked these up out of the recycle pile, I didn't see the AC adapters for them. Maybe they were there, I don't know, but I found some replacements on Amazon. It's the standard 19 volt power supply that like pretty much every laptop uses, but they have a tiny little connector that I actually surprisingly didn't have any matching power supplies for, given all the crap I had lying around here. So I found these on Amazon. These were approximately $12 each, which is almost the same price as the SSDs. I think they were like 15 or something. Is it worth $30 to restore a Pentium D laptop? Honestly, probably not. But that's why I do it, so you don't have to. Alright, so let's get these two power supplies plugged in. These power goes inside facing me. So obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious, but obvious to me since I just opened the power supplies, I have not powered these on yet. So no idea what their condition is going to be like. Let's go ahead and open them up. Let's see, this one is charging, and this one is too. That's a good sign. I think if I open them like that, we can see them both at the same time. Alright, so I think you can see both the screens. So let me go ahead and hit the power button on both of them at once. They both seem to turn on. And they've got that glossy screen, which is super popular for whatever reason. It makes it really hard to film these things. Alright, no bootable device. That is expected for both. They came up really quickly. I'm surprised. There was no like option to get into the BIOS or anything. So let's see if we can't do that. We'll give it the old three-finger salute here. And we'll hit escape F1 and F2. One of those is probably the right one. F2 to enter setup. And let's do the same on this one here. Alright, so it's an Intel Pentium P6200 at 2.13 gigahertz. It does see the hard drive as the Patriot P210, 128 gigabyte. It's the same for both of these, so I'm pretty sure these are spec'd identically. Let's go ahead and check. Main does have the 4 gigs of RAM still installed. Not much else to see here. We'll just check boot. And it does see the dual layer DVD RAM. All right. So pretty simple. I think the next thing we need to do then is get a Windows install USB for each of these and boot off that and install Windows. So they came with Windows 7. Windows 7 is kind of a little old for my tastes at this point. Maybe I'll do Windows 10. I don't think I want to do Windows 11 on these, but Windows 10 should just barely run on these and be usable. So let me build up some boot media, and we'll be right back. So they've been charging for a while. This one has a battery still charging light on. Maybe means the battery's not working or it's not charging. The one back here you can't see, both lights are blue, so it thinks it's fully charged. So no idea what the battery condition is, but we'll let them sit here and continue to charge or do whatever they want to do while we get Windows 10 rolling. So it looks like I don't have a product key for now. We'll get that entered later because I don't know which consumer versions of Windows 10 are on this one here. Looks like we've got home, home end, single language. Let's just go with Windows 10 Pro for both of these. I'll accept all of these terms without reading any of them. We'll do custom install for both. We'll install on our new really kind of crappy SSD, but hey, it is what it is. Probably better than what came with this machine. All right, and now we're just going to let it go through and install on both of these systems. Alright, with Windows installed, we'll go through all of the final setup here. Take our USB drives out. And for now, we'll just tell it we don't have internet. We'll get to that later. We'll just continue with limited setup. Set our username as admin. No password. Accept these defaults. Will not do things with the device history here. Turn Cortana off. Alright, and it's just going to do this final bit of setup here for us. So one thing I did notice going through that setup there, the networks it was showing were all of the 802.11b and G networks. It didn't show up any of the N networks that should be in range, even though the sticker says BGN on it. So that's a little curious, but we'll check that out, I guess, once we get things installed here. All right, it looks like we are all installed now. Let's just double check the networks here, see if we really don't see any of the wireless N networks. They called it something special. They called it the Acer Amplify, which is supposed to connect to wireless N. But I don't see any here. I wonder if I need some additional drivers or something. I can't imagine that would be the case, though. I wonder if it was like a draft N format that it supports, and then the released N just isn't compatible with the draft N. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. What I do want to do is hook this one up to the internet, though, and I don't want to use wireless G speed, so I'll take this network cable here and plug it in. Should get us online. Alright, so I got these machines all set up, and let me tell you what they can do and what they can't do. So what they can do is play YouTube videos, no problem, surf the web. With Windows 10, and I've installed a Google Chrome on both of them instead of using Edge. And everything works just fine. Office, Word, Excel, Outlook all work great. So for basic computing needs, you know, these 14-year-old machines will definitely cover it. So, you know, so someone like your aunt or your mother could probably use one of these machines without much issue. I think everything works really nicely on them. They were probably not top of the line machines when they were sold, although they, you know, they're just the cheap plastic cases, which was pretty typical for the era. Pentium Ds, nothing special, and no discrete graphics chip makes them kind of useless for gaming. So I think they were just kind of basic laptops their whole lives, and with Windows 10 and a cheap SSD, they can continue to be basic laptops without much issue. I did try to install some games on them. The integrated graphics lack Direct 3D version 11, so a lot of any recent game isn't going to run. You know, things like Deep Rock Galactic need that. I thought I would try the Far Cry 6 demo just for fun to see if we could see how bad it was, but it wouldn't even launch. I assume there's some missing pieces of hardware in there, you know, because the last video we did the original Far Cry, I thought the Far Cry 6 would be fun, but no such luck. We did get the Wi-Fi connected on this one. This one's wired. It's seen some wireless end networks, but not all of them, which is kind of interesting. I presume we could fix that with just a cheap USB to Wi-Fi N adapter, you know, a little dongle to put in USB. But probably on these machines, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of, you know, really fast web browsing that you need that kind of speed for. So if you have wireless N, and it works great if you have wireless N and it defaults back to G, great. So what am I going to do with these things? Well, I operate a fleet of laptops for my other hobby, which is IT for roller derby. And we do have a lot of need for computers, and the computers I've been using for that are getting a bit old even for that. You know, they have dark screens. These screens are really bright and really nice, easy to see. You know, they're just kind of old and slow and falling apart, so I think these machines will make a nice addition to that fleet. But other than that, you know, if I hear somebody who needs just a basic computer to do something, I'm more than happy to pass these out. So I mean, they're decent machines for what you get. So for a total of, you know, finding the machine in the recycle center, buying a $15 SSD that again doesn't have a DRAM cache, so it's not a fast SSD, but it's much faster than what would have shipped in these machines again, and a power brick for $12 from Amazon. You know, so we're looking at $27 here, all in for each of these machines. That's really not bad. So I know this isn't exactly vintage, 14 years, kind of a little newer than a lot of the stuff I've worked on, but I do get into the new stuff too. I do enjoy all vintages of computing, and what I really do like doing is keeping these things out of the landfill. So yeah, these were headed to be recycled, but a lot of times that just means they go to China, they get shredded into pieces, the pieces end up on Wish.com, not shredded, but torn down to their components. You know, the RAM ends up on Wish, the Wi-Fi card ends up on AliExpress, the motherboard sells for like $250 on eBay and gets here in 6 weeks. And you know, anything they can't recycle, or anything they can't resell, and using these machines, they try to probably extract the gold out of. It leads to contaminated water. So, you know, recycling machines is good when it's handled correctly and ethically, but a lot of times they go to China and they cause an even bigger problem for the Chinese environment, and you know, end up being super expensive parts for what you get. So anyway, happy with how these turned out. Just going to give them a little bit of a Windex on the screen, but overall they're in really nice shape. Everything seems to work. We got sound, video, all the drivers are updated. Didn't have any problem with that with Windows 10. Of course, they're 64-bit, and the Pentium is a dual-core processor, so it's got plenty of horsepower for doing this kind of stuff, and then, you know, looking at your start menu at the same time. Oh, and just one more thing. As I'm turning these things off and I've unplugged them, the batteries do hold a charge for at least a few minutes. I don't know how long the batteries are going to be good for in these things, but hey, at the price of free, any battery is a good deal. All right, thanks for watching.
Hi guys, make sure to like and subscribe and watch more of our videos later. Bye!